my belief, and it's just my opinion, that lots of people like to predict the price of gold. And I don't even try doing that because I'm not smart enough. But certainly $2,300 gold got as high as 2,450. And that certainly reflects the uncertainty geopolitically and financially in the world. What's interesting to me is silver hasn't moved that much, but there's been a shift in the center of gravity, and it's no longer the West that controls the price of gold and silver. The price of gold and silver is now set in Shanghai, and the Chinese control it.
As global economic and political conditions become increasingly uncertain, many investors are turning to gold and silver to protect their portfolios. Factors such as rising inflation, the decline of the US dollar, and geopolitical tensions have underscored the need for stable investment options. In times of rising prices, exposure to tangible assets like silver, oil, and gold often retains their value better than paper assets. Silver price continued its comeback on Monday, as investors predicted the next Federal Reserve actions. It jumped to a high of $31.50, its highest level since June 7th. It has soared by almost 10% from its lowest point this month. Gold continues to rise, reaching a 6-week high with bullish signals across all time frames, suggesting a push towards 2,450. At the same time, crude oil prices have remained relatively higher in 2024, with some dips when global organizations cut their demand forecasts. Bob Moriarty suggested that we could be on the brink of World War III within a week or two. Moriarty expressed surprise at current prices, with gold at $2,300 and silver at $32, considering silver was $502 an ounce 44 years ago. He had predicted that geopolitical events and multiple potential wars would drive oil prices to $150 per barrel. But this hasn't happened. Leading the charge is silver, up close to 22.5% in the first half. The poor man's gold is proving its worth, driven by a global supply deficit and increasing demand. Back in January, the Silver Institute forecasted that global silver demand will reach a near-record 1.2 billion ounces in 2024, up 1% from last year. This growth is primarily fueled by industrial applications, particularly in the booming solar energy sector. Bob Moriarty concluded by stating that silver is the best investment, and the junior resource market is the cheapest it has ever been in history. Before we explore further, be sure to subscribe and click the bell to stay tuned for more engaging content.
Iranians could shut the Gulf of Hormuz in one day. Okay. The Houthis have dramatically increased the price of shipping and the price of oil. We could be in World War III in a week or two, but if you look at the oil price saying, nah, it's just normal stuff. You're talking about gold, and I actually have a decent sized piece of a big silver lead zinc mine in Bolivia. And to give you an idea of how base metals have changed, zinc has gone from $1.09 a pound to $1.33 a pound in about 3 or 4 months. So gold is not the only thing that has shot up. Now, silver has gone from $21 to $32 in the same time frame as gold. I think that the metals are reflecting inflation and demand, because I think the demand is coming from China. But I'm totally confused. If you asked me 6 months ago, all of these things are going to happen geopolitically, and we're going to have 5.5 potential wars, what's going to happen to the price of oil? I'll tell you, oil's going to be $150 a barrel, and it's not. So I'm going to tell you that's something that, while I have an opinion, my opinion's wrong. Okay, oil should be higher, but it's not. Silver is the most volatile metal by far, and sentiment affects it the most. There have been 60 billion ounces of silver produced, and people have been saying for 20 years that we're about to run out of silver. Now, while a lot of silver used to get recycled, a lot of silver doesn't get recycled anymore. One of these days, we're going to run short of silver, and silver really is going to go to the moon. I'm shocked that we've got $2,300 gold, $32 silver, because silver was $50.25 44 years ago. So I think the single best investment is silver. But if you're talking about shares, I think the junior resource market is the cheapest it's ever been in history. And if we can avoid blowing up the world, the junior resource market's going up 5 to 10-fold.
The global economy is a shifting terrain, and the US dollar is one of its most fragile pillars. China's economy has been dogged by a downturn in the property market and volatile stocks over recent months. Money is rushing into Chinese government bonds, sending their prices soaring and yields plunging to record lows as investors hunt for a safer alternative to the country's ravaged real estate market and volatile stocks. Bob Moriarty delved into the current situation, explaining that it's driven by geopolitical issues, changes in the value of the dollar, and the total crash of real estate in China. This has led to a mad rush for government bonds in China. He added that at some point, this rush will extend to gold and silver. Now let's delve into the video.
What's happening basically is, because of the geopolitical crap going on, and because of the change in the value of the dollar, and because of the total crash of real estate in China, you have this mad rush for government bonds in China. Humans are animals, okay? And they react the same way birds do, and fish do, and gazelles in Africa. They want to be part of the herd. And the Chinese are no better or no worse than Americans or Brits or anybody else. And now they're rushing into bonds. And every time the mob makes a big run like that, it ends in disaster. However, at some point in time, they're going to do that to gold, and they're going to do that to silver. Now, I was in gold and silver. I was buying gold as early as 1968. And in January of 1980, I looked around, and all these people that I had been telling to buy gold and silver for years, all of a sudden were telling me, hey, Bob, what you got to do is you got to put as much money into gold and silver as you can. And I thought, wait a minute, where were you when silver was $1.29 an ounce? Where were you when gold was $35? And they wanted to buy gold when it was $8.75. They wanted to buy silver when it was $50.25. So I sold all my gold and silver in January of 1980 because the sentiment scared me. The sentiment on Chinese bonds now absolutely petrifies me. I believe, and again, this is not, I did not come down the mountain with Moses. It's not written. I believe we're facing a financial catastrophe. And we've got so many things. Before you started recording, we were talking about, there are so many things going on right now that are dangerous. And one little spark is going to ignite a bonfire. My belief, and it's just my opinion, that lots of people like to predict the price of gold. $2,300 gold. Gold got as high as $2,450. And that certainly reflects the uncertainty geopolitically and financially in the world. What's interesting to me is silver hasn't moved that much, but there's been a shift in the center of gravity, and it's no longer the West that controls the price of gold and silver. The price of gold and silver is now set in Shanghai.
Gold has long been considered a safe haven asset, offering protection against economic downturns and currency devaluation. Over recent years, gold has outperformed many traditional investment options, providing a reliable store of value. We have seen a huge increase in customers looking to protect their portfolios with gold and silver, said Samuel O'Brien, president of True Gold Republic. This trend highlights the growing awareness and concern among investors about the stability of their financial future. What is your favorite asset to invest in? Your opinion matters. Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit the like button if you enjoyed this, and subscribe to stay informed on our journey together.